What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a brand new episode of the Chasing the Pack podcast. I'm your host, Chase Lacombe, and thanks so much for being here. If you haven't already, I encourage you to hit the like button on this video, the subscribe button for the channel. We're a brand new channel, and it does a ton to really help us get established and get off the ground. Today, we're going to be discussing the Green Bay Packers' upcoming matchup against the Chicago Bears. This is a huge matchup in the NFC playoff race, as well as for the NFC North in the division. Currently, Chicago holds the 1 seed in the NFC and sits atop the NFC North. Green Bay is half a game behind and chasing, and over the next 13 days or 14 days, as we're recording this, these two games against Chicago are going to have humongous implications across the NFC and specifically for the Green Bay Packers. Before we discuss the game specifically, there's a few news and notes and roster moves that Green Bay executed over the last few days. Devontae Wyatt was officially placed on season-ending injury reserve. We all knew that was coming. We'd seen his name at the bottom of the injury report, but there was never any hope that he was coming back from that injury. So we did finally see that transpire. We have several new Green Bay Packers. Quinton Bohanna. Who? Yeah, who? Who is Quinton Bohanna, or who Quinton Bohanna is a 355-pound defensive tackle that is going to be helping your Green Bay Packers shore up the run defense again or across that defensive line for Green Bay. This is a huge-bodied individual that can move. He has got speed. He's got strength. He is going to be a fun tool for Jeff Hafley to begin to utilize. We also saw a little bit earlier this week, Green Bay poached Jordan Riley from the Giants practice squad. So if you know, whenever you acquire a player from another team's practice squad, you have to keep them on your active roster for a minimum of 3 weeks. Now, if you use him for a week and cut him, you don't get that roster spot back. So that is by poaching a player from a practice squad, you have to activate them to your 53-man roster for a minimum of 3 weeks, or that roster spot is thereby allocated to that player for that next 3 weeks, regardless of whether or not the team decides to keep him on the roster at all or with the team. So you might as well. You're utilizing that roster spot for the player anyway. You might as well keep him. But something interesting is these two players. Green Bay adds 2 nose tackles to replace Devontae Wyatt. And you start by saying you can't replace Devontae Wyatt. These two players are not here to be Devontae Wyatt. You can't replace what he did for the defensive line. But you can begin to restructure your game plan moving forward at this point in the season in regards to the remaining schedule that we have coming up and the potential playoff matchups should Green Bay reach the playoffs. And depending on what seeding they end up there will obviously determine what their opponent who they would face in the playoffs. But all of these remaining teams that Green Bay is going to face this year all have a top 5 rushing offense. So with Chicago, I think they sit at the number 2 spot. We have Denver coming up. They have a potent run offense. The Ravens, Minnesota, that game I'm not really so worried about. I think by the time that we get to the last week of the season, I think the playoff picture for the most part is going to be pretty well shaken out by that point. So I think we're going to know very well, these games will, likely, if it does come down to the last week of the season, we will likely see those games happen as the primetime 7:20 Central PM game. Another news note from this week is the potential return of Jaden Reed to the lineup for Green Bay. We will probably see or look for that his activation probably sometime on Saturday around 3 p.m. So this afternoon, as I'm recording this, we'll get that notification from Green Bay as they make that announcement. But you could see potential replacements by Donovan Jennings or Aaron Mosby as well. So I want to get into this one. I have several keys for the game. I believe it's going to start for Green Bay's defense and Jeff Hafley in stopping Chicago's run. This team ran all over Philly. DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monungai both had a humongous day, both rushing for over 100 yards each. I believe Chicago ended up with 281 yards, something like that, total rushing against Philly. And that was a team that, well, we're starting to see them regress. And that was a scary part of that's what we've seen happen to Philly over the years, is their, trend to decline as the season goes on. But that was a Super Bowl contender, and I don't think anybody has truly counted them out yet, but it's not looking good for Philly. But Chicago had a field day with Philly in the run game. So this is going to be a huge part to Green Bay's game on Sunday, is going to be stopping the run for Chicago. Green Bay's defenders are really going to have to step up with sound fundamentals in this game and really wrap up during the tackling. We can't have repeats of what we saw with just, Green Bay defenders trying to make tackles, in pivotal key points in the game and just throwing a shoulder into it. There's going to have to be a lot more key fundamentals. I think because we won that game, I think some of those mistakes became a little more mitigated. They didn't seem to really hold the same weight as if they would as if we had lost that game. So even though it was a 4-point swing on a single tackle, I think because we come away with the win, just that lesson is a little easier, for a coach to kind of tell a player like, hey, I know we came away with the win, so there's a feel good there, but hey, this really could have gone a different direction, and we've got to clean that up. So I think that's going to be a point of emphasis, and likely really has, since those mistakes have started to take place. But as long as we can see a clean brand of football from Green Bay, I think a lot of those mistakes will be absent from the field on Sunday. I think one other key aspect of this game is to keep that same type of aggressive mentality and play calling from Matt LaFleur and the coaching staff. Now, I don't think that they should be as aggressive on the first drive, on the first play of the game. This is not where you hit the bomb, for 70 yards to Christian Watson on the first play of the season a couple of years ago. That was a fun one. I wish that would have worked. It almost did, didn't it? That would have been a forever highlight. But I think that a little bit more conservative play calling during the beginning of the game, if Green Bay can establish their run game like they were able to last week on Thanksgiving against Detroit, if they can really begin to establish that on the ground, it will open up a lot of options for Jordan Love and the play action pass and a lot of the passing games around to Green Bay's wide receivers. I think with the potential of Jaden Reed coming back, there's a lot of yard after the catch potential that we haven't had and haven't seen since his injury. So that could be a big aspect for Green Bay getting him back for this game. But yeah, there does need to be that foot on the gas as this game gets deeper and deeper. Chicago is going to find ways to adjust. They're on a 5-game win streak right now. Green Bay's on a 3-game win streak. Chicago's won 9 of their last 10. They're going to find a way to score points and to make some big plays. There are a lot of playmakers on this team. There's a few key playmakers not in this game. We're going to talk about those here in a little bit, but yes, Green Bay has got to be aggressive throughout the majority of this game, but I think establishing the run early will go a long way towards allowing Green Bay to be aggressive and keep the foot on the gas as they were able to against the Lions last week. Winning the turnover battle, though, this is going to be a huge win. Chicago is found a way to be the best in the league at taking the ball away. They have 25 takeaways currently, and Montez Sweat is leading through forced fumbles this year. So a lot, going back to the fundamentals, it's going to be a lot of holding on to the ball. If this is going to be a very cold game It is going to be bitter in Green Bay for this game. I don't have the temperature. I haven't looked up the weather in Green Bay. It's cold in Nashville right now, but it's going to be a lot colder there. Chicago knows how to play in the cold. They're not afraid of that. We've seen Jordan Love really be a fantastic dome quarterback and have some of the best stats of his career playing indoors. He's going to have to be the cold weather player that Green Bay needs if he is truly going to take the reins and be the franchise quarterback for Green Bay, a potential future Hall of Famer. Who knows? He's on a good early pace to do that. But in order to do that, you can't do it without a Lombardi in Green Bay. You cannot be one of the great quarterbacks unless you have won it all. And all of our great quarterbacks knew how to play in the cold. So this is going to be the Green Bay's running backs. If they're going to establish that and be able to, they're going to have to be able to hold on to the football. Montez Sweat knows how to punch out footballs. Chicago knows how to get that ball bouncing across the ground and take advantage of those opportunities. They've done it all season long. Green Bay has been very good at not turning over the ball this year. So you're going to see, kind of both of the, these strengths of each team, where one doesn't give it up and the other one likes to take it away a whole bunch. Will one bend or break? Or will we just see no turnovers in this game and it was a completely moot point, stat line. But it is, going into this game, it is a major point of emphasis for both of these teams. Containing Caleb Williams and making him throw a lot faster is another thing that is, I think, is going to be a key in this game. Chicago is going to want to get the ball out of Caleb's hands a lot faster than he has all season. They cannot keep that same standing in the pocket. Currently, Chicago, or Caleb Williams, is ranked 32nd in all quarterbacks in the league at holding on to the ball for an average of over 3 seconds per play, or per pass play. That is way too much time for Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary to get home. Caleb is going to have to get that ball out of his hands on his first read. There's going to have to be a lot of plays drawn up that he can get that ball out in time, in rhythm, and not let Micah Parsons do it. You're not going to stop Micah Parsons. He's going to get pressures. I hope he gets a lot of sacks in this game. I hope this is a 5 sack game for Micah Parsons. That would completely turn the tides. But if Caleb holds on to the ball for over 3 seconds consistently in this game, you can expect Micah Parsons to eat in this game. He is going to be disruptive. And which right into my next point, Rashawn Gary. And we were just talking about him, but Rashawn Gary, I think we've all seen it's a little bit lackluster in his production this year, especially with the acquisition of Micah Parsons and having the advantage of him being on the roster all season long already. We didn't have him in training camp or OTAs and minicamp and all that, but you know who Micah Parsons was. They all knew who he was. We were familiar with his game, but being able to work one-on-one with him all season long, I think that we have not seen the production that we would have all really liked to have seen from Rashawn Gary this year. And I think in this game, if Caleb does hold on to the ball that long, there are going to always be 2 or 3 people double teaming, triple teaming Micah Parsons. Rashawn Gary needs to take advantage of his one-on-one matchups. He needs to win at his point of attack and be as equally disruptive as Micah. Or, we just need to see an increased amount of production than what we have from Rashawn. And if he comes up with just a few key plays that we haven't really been seeing as of late, I think that can really turn the tide and be a pivotal point in this game for the Green Bay Packers. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Green Bay has done really well in games whenever we have not turned the ball over. 7-0. We need to play clean football. As long as we can continue to mitigate our mistakes, play a much cleaner brand of football that we have been seeing Green Bay play as of late. We've seen a lot of just 2 penalty games, 22 yards. It's almost negligible. But and it's definitely down from what it has been historically. Probably during the Matt LaFleur era, we've seen a lot of games and a lot of seasons where there were a lot of penalties and kills a lot of drives. It doesn't help you win football games, and yards and drives in this game right now, or in this league, are at a premium. You can't get enough of them, and if you're giving them away like beads at Mardi Gras, candy in a parade off a float, you just can't be bleeding yards. Another thing about bleeding yards is special teams competency. We didn't see a lot of mistakes from the special teams last week. I thought that they did clean up a lot of things. The kicking game in this one is going to be pivotal. There was a lot of times they kicked it 1 yard into the end zone and gave it to him on the 35. Jeff Hafley went in there saying, or Rich Bisaccia, said in his press that was not the game plan going, and they were not trying to boot it into the end zone, put it 1 yard over the line. I think in this colder weather game, balls aren't going to fly quite as far, and hopefully with that mindset of really trying to pin their ears back and make them have to go on long, sustained drives, never give them the big chunk plays or really limit them the big 20-yard plus plays in the game for Chicago. If we cannot make or avoid making mistakes on special teams and gifting them free yards, make them earn every inch of Lambeau Field, that will go a long way towards winning this game for Green Bay. Last week, there were just a lot of 6 yards here, 5 yards here, another 8 yards here on a lot of these kicks. And when you added it up, it was 50 yards. That's a 50-yard bomb that you just gave them for free. You put it in a nice little bow and stuck it under the tree for Christmas morning. So that needs to be something that can be cleaned up. And I hope Rich Bisaccia has made a point of emphasis this week with Brandon McManus in being able to kind of negate a lot of those. So the Packers are getting healthy at the right time. We have a lot of people coming back from injury. I'm not going to read down the entire injury report. It was quite extensive, but I'm going to pull out a few of the keys from it. Marshawn Lloyd was limited all week in practice, but he's going to be out. Excuse me. These are the 4 players that are out this week for Green Bay from our injury report. So Marshawn Lloyd again, but we did see him being limited all week in practice. So that was good. Hopefully we can get him back next week against Denver. He's been so explosive in the run game whenever he's out there, but man, it just seems like every week, it's even before he gets back, there's something new listed. It's like, was that the same body part that was hurt last week why he couldn't play? Now it's a calf. What was it last week? Was it a hamstring? Was it a foot, ankle? A broken heart? Man, Marshawn Lloyd has been bitten by the injury bug since he got to Green Bay, and God, whenever he's healthy, it is a thing of beauty, and it has been a piece of the Green Bay offense that we haven't been fortunate enough to actually get to see and experience outside of probably more than training camp and a little preseason. Seeing him is limited all week on the injury report, that is very encouraging for Green Bay's run game as we enter these last 5 weeks of the season. Well, it'll be at least 4 with him. We'll see. Colin Oliver was limited all week in practice with a hamstring. He's going to be out for this game as well, but it is encouraging to see that he was limited all week. LVN did not practice all week. He was seen on the sidelines in a walking boot. We were expecting or hoping, fingers crossed, to get him back for this game, and it looked like that injury, it took a step up, or a step down, rather. So that was unfortunate for LVN. Savion Williams also didn't practice all week. Javon Bullard was limited on Wednesday, but didn't practice on Thursday and Friday. I would expect not to see Javon Bullard go for this game. Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Brenton Cox Jr. Were all. I think we're all very hopeful that they come back for this game. Nate Hobbs, he was limited. He's listed as questionable as well. The big one for the Bears, though, I'm not going to go down their list, but Rome Odunze is a big key part of their offense at wide receiver. And we were just talking about Caleb Williams needing to get the ball out quicker from his hands in this game. The loss of Rome Odunze is a big part for Chicago in this. That is a big negative for them in this game. And that is a go-to guy for Caleb all year. He's had 44 catches for 661 yards and 6 touchdowns, which is tied for 11th in the league, I believe. And that's a big out. So there's a lot of players that hopefully we do see come back here. Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, Brenton Cox Jr., Nate Hobbs. I do hope that we see those all 4 of those players playing this, but Rome Odunze out for Chicago. That's a big one. Should we be worried about the North? Green Bay really could improve their seeding this year by winning this game, or these 2 games. But it all starts today, and winning your home game, it probably is the most important one right now to be able to keep the foot on the gas, to take the lead in the NFC North playoff race, to move up in the NFC seedings. I don't know where Green Bay could stand to move up in the NFC playoff seeding race with a win against this, but Green Bay would have a 67% chance to win the NFC North if they can win against Chicago tomorrow. But that falls to a 22%, only a 22% chance to win the NFC North with a loss to Chicago. So this game, very, very pivotal. Vegas currently has Green Bay sitting at 6.5 point favorites to win this game. I thought that was a little high all week long. The line, I kept checking the line. It never really moved. I checked it just before jumping on here. It's still sitting at 6.5 points. Maybe they knew that Rome Odunze was likely going to be out for this game. There was a lot. We were talking just after the Lions game. We knew that there were a lot of players potential to come back for Green Bay this week. LVN being the one that we probably expected to the most, which we're seeing is not going to be here, not going to be out for Green Bay in this game, or not going to be out there. He will be out, but not out there. Yeah, you know. But I think that is I think that's an accurate line. I think Green Bay really can hold and cover the spread on that from Vegas and come out with a win at home. I think Green Bay has all the pieces in place that they need to win this game. It's going to come down to execution. The play calling is working right now. They're calling all of the right plays. They've been calling the right plays. What we failed to see for a while was an execution in a lot of pivotal moments. And if you can negate a lot of the mistakes and execute in those well-designed play calls at the pivotal points throughout this game, I don't think Green Bay is going to have too much of a problem coming away with a win in this game. Excuse me. My prediction for the game, I think Green Bay gets it done 26-18. I think they fall just short of that magical 27 number, although it wouldn't shock me if it was 27-18 or 27-13. This could be a very close game. I think as long as Green Bay takes care of business early and often in this game, I don't think it's going to come down to last second drives or a last second field goal for either of these teams. But that is the challenge for Matt LaFleur and Jeff Hafley and the Green Bay Packers this week, is really to establish that early, get the lead, and hold on to it just how they did against Detroit. If you have that same type of game plan, making them play from behind the entire game, I think that it'll open up the entire playbook for this offense and this defense. And I don't think that Chicago is going to have enough weapons, as long as we can stop the run game or mitigate that, and limit Caleb Williams on a lot of big throws. If Micah Parsons and Rashawn Gary can really work in the pass rush and get Caleb Williams off balance and off a lot of these throws and these reads, that is going to be a major keys for victory this week against the Bears. One last thing before I go. I have one last fun extra note, and forgive me, I'm going to pull it up here on my phone. Adrian Cooper is hosting a toy drive right now around the holidays, calling it Cowboy Coops Holiday Roundup. So forgive me while I read from the flyer. I haven't memorized all of these, but there are several drop-off locations around the Green Bay area: at Howell Elementary on Madison Street, at Digicopy on Walnut Street, and at Shopco Optical on Costco Way. So I assume at the Costco there. It says it'll be adding more soon. They're asking you to donate unwrapped elementary age board games and card games. You can follow this at Coops_Roundup, and you can follow Adrian at Adrian.Cooper on Instagram. So this toy drive runs through December 17th. And if you want more information, go follow Adrian's page for the toy drive and his personal page. But sorry, guys, I guess the camera cut out there, but we got it back on just here as I sign off and say goodbye to you guys. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you checking out the show. It's a brand new podcast. Again, if you haven't already, or if you feel so inclined, I would encourage you to hit the like button for the video, hit subscribe to the channel, help us grow, help us get out there. Just love being a Green Bay Packers fan and discussing all things green and gold. Anyway, wherever you are today, I hope you have a great day. Go Pack Go.